But yeah, I think there's certain catalysts that have to happen where you're feeling good about something. You're like, oh, and then if it were to go further on, the story would end right there. Like if I think if Eddard had made it through because of his status as like a warrior and a person of virtue, he we didn't even explain. Yeah, you find out that Eddard had a bastard son when he was away during the Great War between the Baratheons and the Targaryens. So, like, you find out, oh, he's got a blemish on his past. He's not so faithful. He banged this lady and, like, had an extra kid or whatever, which, again, spoiler alert, gets cleared up later on, which is a great plot twist. That's a great, it's a great catalyst that, it furthers the story. His death furthers the story along, just like all the other deaths furthered the story along as far as that goes, If you had Rob just kicking ass straight through the whole time and it wouldn't be a story anymore, because there was that one point where you're like, oh, let me guess, Rob's going to kick some ass in this war and he's going to turn this around and, oh, no, he just fucking died, what?
Right. So is that how you kind of foresee season finale, as just a group cluster of the characters?
Yes, back to the season finale. Yes, I do. I see... I honestly see Arya either making the choice to kill Khaleesi or Jon because of the choices they're making. You can already see her, like, getting up there, like she's ready to... She's not going to take any shit. Again, she's been pushed forward so fucking long that she is going to... she's been pushed by hate, and when you have so much hate in your heart like she does, you start to lose a little bit of your humanity and what you want. And, like, if somebody's not doing the right thing, or in your case, like doing what you want to happen or see, that she's going to do whatever she has to do to preserve her life and whoever else she's trying to avenge. So I see Jon making some type of weird, like, call, like, she's gonna want to kill this guy. Oh, no, you can't kill her, Arya. I need him for some type of part of the battle or something, or somebody who did her wrong in the past is gonna come up and she's gonna be like, I need to murder them, and you're not gonna let me murder them. Well, I'm either gonna take that into my own hands or I'm gonna murder you. Like, that type of thing.
Right.
As far as Jon and Khaleesi goes, like I said, I see one of them, because they're both, at this point, they're both brother and sister, right? They're like half brothers, half sisters, or some shit like that. Like, one's full-blooded Targaryen, the other one's not. Yeah. I see them banging, having a kid, and that kid being left off as a bastard, kind of like the last time that this happened. And then because, like, what I've noticed in this show, especially from seeing, like, the I forget his name, like, the seer in the wood, like, he was the guy that was in the tree or whatever. This show, like, repeats itself.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, like, you see what happened in previous times, and, like, different characters happening, like, and it just all seems like it's turning around again until everybody forgets that the like, they'll probably push back the White Walkers, or they're going to do some type of weird mass extinction where everything's going to have to kick up again, and the only people that are going to be alive are the people who could survive fire. Because, we still got the fucking Lord of Light to deal with, that whole aspect, which is just like fire and ice. Okay, all right, well, we'll get it. they're gonna counteract each other. What about you? What's your predictions for the...
kind of what you were saying. I think it's going to end where things started. I think Tyrion is going to be the last standing Lannister, and I think he is going to be throned by Jon Snow. I think Jon Snow will survive, because just the way the story's been written, where they've killed him and they brought him back. You don't kill him again. It doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things to do that from a writing point of view. And I think they're going to be like, this is rightfully yours. Because I always look at John the way I look at Ned, because they tend to mirror each other in their similarities, and they do they've done flashbacks to say, like, oh, he tends to carry his father's words and his choices and his sense of, like, good. So Ned didn't want the throne, I don't think he never did, and I think that's why, what's his name, Baratheon?
Yeah.
He didn't want either, but he's like, fine, I guess I'll go ahead and I'll carry this thing forward. But I think that's going to kind of end up happening is John will present the opportunity, but John will say, no, this isn't for me. I'll keep my integrity as it stands. Right. And then he'll say, but I do know someone who is rightly fit to rule. And then, Tyrion will take that position. Take yeah, because I feel like, it started with a Lannister. I think it will end with a Lannister. But at least this one's a lot better than the other one.
Well, it started with a technically, in a sense, this is like it started with a Targaryen, and then the Lannisters helped the Baratheons to overthrow the Targaryens. So the Baratheons jumped up. But what you've also noticed is even though they're king, because and it kind of works like the political system now, where even though you're the president, you still have people who financially backed you, or had people you have to make good on. So, like with the Baratheons, they were like, the original King Robert, the one who fought with Ned, and who had to take the mantle when Ned didn't want to take it. He was in good with the Lannisters because the Lannisters paid for the soldiers to come and fight for him. They did this, so they're like, you owe us, and how do you gonna owe us? You're gonna marry my daughter and put me in the next, like you said, the next position. So it's like, even though you're the king, if you have shit attached to you, you're not the king. And you get to find out that, like, because they paint this, whoever sits on the Iron Throne is leader of all of Westeros and all that shit. And it's like, you find out, no, that's not the case at all. It's like they don't have power. It's the people surrounding them that have the power, that contribute, that do all this stuff. And while they may have like quick judgments to murder people, that they're able to do that, they don't actually have any real fucking power, because all it takes is for like one little army, well, not one little army, but a few armies to fucking combat that, and your throne means jack shit. It's not like you get mystical powers when you wear that, or when you sit on the throne or wear the crown. So, and I think that's what the show does a good point in painting, is like you get to see the shit that makes it so that the crown, because that's what Joffrey's whole fucking thing was, that little piece of shit. Like, he's one of the greatest characters, as far as like, he sold that character perfect to make you physically fucking hate him the entire time. Like, that guy did a really good job playing Joffrey, and like, making you wish he died every fucking minute of your life. And but yeah, you find that out with Joffrey, is like, he goes to say shit, and even his mom like sits down and is like, I will take you out. I will fucking murder you. Right. Like, if you fucking ever do something like that again. So like, yeah, there's different aspects to it that are like, it's just cool that mirrors like society in that sense. And then also like, but yeah, I see that happening too. I see like John being like shirking responsibility, even though like Tyrion's also somebody who's like, I don't want the throne either. He kind of just wants to advise people. He likes advising. So, and even discussing this, maybe they melt down that Iron Throne, turn it into a table where there's a council instead of like one person leading the whole thing.
That'd be
maybe that's what they'll do.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even Khaleesi, who is like the rightful heir, she's even finding that she doesn't like fucking ruling everybody and making decisions for everyone and all that stuff. So
yeah, I don't think she's going to be voted, because I don't know. You just see the course of everyone's judgment on the show, and I find that Khaleesi, she's very quick to decisions without actually taking in all the information.
Right.
And I think John saw that in season 7, and he had to kind of take her down a few notches, saying, hey, you haven't thought about all these other things before you're quick to, this is what I want to do, you know?
Well, I think it's more so like she's also been through the ringer. She's been a person who like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and she's one of those persons that has good intent, but like you said, doesn't think things all the way through 100%. But I think she's also working at it from an aspect of, I've been fucked over so many times, I kind of have to be this way. Like John does have a little naivety, or whatever you'd say that. Like, he's got a little bit of that too, where, you know, he thinks that, well, if I bring these people together, and he only got saved by being able to come back to life, because you did get to see what happened with his whole idea of, I'm going to bring the wildlings in here. And it's like, he's just disregarding all the people who have lost friends, family, all that stuff to the wildlings, while it may have been just for that. But I mean, you get to see, it's just cool how the show paints both sides as far as that goes. So like, even though I really like the character John, I could see why they were going to murder him. You know, that one kid had to watch his mom get like fucking raped and murdered in front of him underneath. Like, he had to witness a lot of shit, and yeah, John was like, yeah, I'll just bring those people that did that to you, because we need the manpower to fight the greater army. You got to see that, but that kid's one emotions is like, dude, fuck that. Like, I probably, if I would have been in that kid's shoes, I probably would have stabbed John too. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like not conspiring, but just like,
there's a lot of conspiring. Sure.
I guess conspiring or negotiating. It's like, wow, you know, why do we have to share the bed with this lot here and say, okay, now we're friends now, but then later things will change. It's like, John. It's the problem is because they don't have a lot of time. You know what I mean? So like, when you're pressed on time, you just have to kind of go with your gut and say, look, we're not going to be here if. You know what I mean? And that's no easy thing to do for anyone to say, let's drop our integrity or dignity and let's go ahead and just say, hey, can you help me fight these people who can kill us all easily? Like, and just kind of put all this other stuff aside. Like, it's just, everything is so like all that hate and anger against tribes is just so rooted. And for him to just grab things by the balls and say, look, we can't screw around anymore. It's either now or never.
It's either we die or we're going to work together. Like, that's that type of thing. But like, I get that. But also what John's saying is stuff that like people just assume that he's going crazy and like all that stuff. So I, like I said, I get why John is doing that. And I get that like he's obviously in the end, because we can see everything, we get all the plot points that, you know, the characters in the show don't get, because they're characters. They can't see. They're not watching a TV show. They're living in the wall, or they're living, you know, in certain parts. But like, you can see from that like you said, an outsider looking in on this world, you can see how that would make sense. But then it's like, well, if you actually go to the characters, like John saying all this crazy White Walker shit. Only him and a few of his friends have seen it. He also spent time with the wildlings and marched on the wall, developed a relationship with a wildling. So now it's like, they're like, oh, you just gone full wildling then. You're fucking crazy. This is not gonna, you know, you're betraying your own kind. Like, these people are monsters and murderers, and like, and not that they aren't either. They can't see like in their own like sense. It's you know, it's very, like I said, it mirrors a lot of things in society where it's like, well, no, like they might have done wrong things too, but you guys have also done wrong things, and like, you know, like they just don't see that, but they work on a very team-based mentality as far as that goes. But
I guess. But I mean, I guess they're not used to working with people in their own group who are like on the fence about things. It's either you're with us or you're against us, and I think. I don't know, like, Ned, I'm trying to like think like of Ned. Like he seems the kind of person who he lives by the law, he dies by the law because he's
right, and that's where like they were